this movie we'll show you how we can import that DXF file of the flattened cylinder and do some machining on it. So I'm in PartMaster 2D CAD now, so if I open a DXF drawing, and we're working in millimeters, so that's the DXF file of the flattened shape. Now we need to make contours of each one of those features. We've got an automatic method where we can create contours of everything, but that will assume that things have the same depth. If they don't have the same depth, then you need to create them individually. So the first thing to do is to sort out where you want your datum point to be. So I'll just take a guess and say that we want the datum point to be the midpoint halfway up the cylinder. So then we go around and we create a contour for each one of these shapes, and we can set the various depths. And do the same thing for this one. This one here might be a different depth. Smaller ones might be different. So if they're all the same depth, then that's fine. This dialog box here is just asking me where I want to start machining. So when you're machining a circle, 0 is the 3 o'clock position, which I guess is as good a place as any. Okay, so if they're all the same depth, you can just accept all the defaults. But if you need to change the depth for whatever reason, then you can do. Okay, so that's set all the parameters for that. So now if I save that away, and then we go into machining for the milling module. So the first thing I need to do is check on my tool change position to make sure that I've got enough Z-axis movement here, and the clearance plane will need to be bigger than the radius of the part. So I define a tool. I'm not sure what tool you'd use here. I'm just using a 10mm cutter, but you can use whatever size tool will fit into the holes. Select that tool for use by setting the spindle speed and the feed rate. So now we need to switch on the rotary axis, and we'll be working in the B axis in this case, and the radius value here will be the radius of the outside of the component. So that's set up, switching on the radius, the rotary axis. Now we'll do just a simple area clearance command on each one of those shapes. And under the options tab, we'll say we want to machine out from the center and machine all contours with the same group number. So because they're put into group 0, they'll all be machined with the same parameters. And again, I need, on my work surface here, I need to set that as being the radius of the part. So that goes away and creates just a simple area clearance command of each one of those. If we want just to zoom in, that's starting from the center and then just getting progressively bigger as it goes out. Okay, so we switch off the rotary axis, and now we can simulate that. So we use the 3D simulation. We're working on a rotary axis in B. So that's now producing the data for the machine tool simulation. Okay, so to go into the stock, we're going to set up some stock, so we'll define some sizes. We'll have a bar and the diameter is 800. Now I've just noticed one small problem here, is that within the simulator we're assuming we're working on a sort of a standard milling machine, so we'll need to get the length here increased. It's only allowing me to put in up to 3 digits, so but when I show this to my colleague Michael, he can fix that and he'll get that changed. Okay, so that's set up the machine tool simulator, so now we can just simulate that. So that's the component. We can rotate it round so it's in the right view, and then we have the simple video controls at the top here, so we can run that part. As I say, the stock simulation is only allowing me up to 1 meter, so that's one thing that we'll need to get changed. But as you can see, it's doing the machining as we want it to do. So we can look at the simulation in various ways, but on a basic shape like that, that's pretty much it. So we can close the simulator, back into the CAM system, and then we can post-process to the machine tool you've got, which uses the Mac controller. So that produces the file here, and then that's just sent down to the controller, and away you go.